This might be a hot take for the internet, and I mean no shade by this, right? Why do women promote singleness so much? This is no shade, right? I've seen so many videos over the past couple of days like, oh, I need y'all to release the shackles from wanting a man, going out wanting a man. We are supposed to be together. I have always operated more effectively when I've been with a woman, especially a good one. The sole reason fundamentally we are on this planet is to procreate, companionship, family unit. One of the main reasons why everybody is on edge and fucked up and all of this shit is, one, we are eliminating companionship from this world, and people think you could operate effectively as a single individual, and that has never been the case. There is nothing wrong with being single. I just don't know why it's promoted so much. And you don't even have to look at this in a sense of, having a romantic relationship. So many people in this life think they can operate solo dolo. You need help. You need a community. You need companionship. One of the main reasons to go outside is to go find a partner. Like, that is the reason of social interactions, whether it's to create a friend, that's a level of companionship, whether it's to meet your wife, or on the flip, as a woman, your husband. I begin lost with this super promotion of being alone. I've never understood it.
So once again, I'm scrolling and I come across this video of this man wanting to know, why are women promoting being single so much? So of course, the ladies had to answer him. He's not going to listen or believe them, of course, because men don't listen to women and believe that we're single by choice. They don't believe anything we say. They ask us questions, but they don't want to hear the response. But the ladies came out and they responded to him. So let's get into the responses, and I will talk to y'all later.
Shade by this, right? Why do women promote singleness so much?
Because it's fun. So I want to have this conversation as someone that is bisexual and primarily dated women before ever getting involved with men. As someone that really wasn't a part of these dynamics growing up, it's been very, very interesting, like kind of seeing and understanding why there's so much fighting between what seems to be like hetero men and hetero women. And this really sparked all my thoughts between the Vogue article about boyfriends being embarrassing to the gender wars that have been a thing since I feel like since I was like 16 years old. What I have noticed is that it seems that heterosexual men and heterosexual women are coming at relationships very, very differently. And I'll give you an example. A creator that I sometimes come across on my FYP that is more like defending men when it comes to dating, he made a response to the Vogue embarrassing boyfriend article, right? And in the comments, all I said was, hey, maybe if we decenter romantic relations for both men and women, like maybe that might be good for us. Maybe that might mean that when we come back to wanting to be together on a large scale, like we'll have healthier dynamics, healthier relationships. And interestingly, so many of the men in my comments had like 3 responses, which is A, well, women shouldn't be single because then what is their purpose? B, you're selfish if you don't want to have children. Or C, well, if you don't have a relationship, then like it's going to be the downfall of society and the population. And that all really, really confused me, because I'm just like, and I mean this with genuine empathy, do men not understand that like community and family can be built without procreation? Just want to ask, like genuinely asking. Because when I'm saying, oh, hey, I think men and women should, figure out what they want and come to relationships more, self-sufficient, independent, that's not me saying that, like, they should be alone and isolated, because community is you being an aunt. Community is you being a music teacher to children that don't understand music. Like, community is not just the nuclear family. And in fact, when you don't have these people that are like non-traditional in their parenting roles, whether that's teachers, mentors, coaches, like that is a huge part of community. I think one of the reasons why men are very like confused and aggravated about this movement of women deciding to be single, women deciding to push off marriage, children, is like, I don't think they've learned how to function without romance or relationships being a main target, which is ironic, right? Because for so long it's been that, oh, all girls care about is relationships, all girls care about is finding a husband. I think we've actually flipped. I've noticed even in my TikTok For You page, it's flipped, where it's like, I'm noticing more men complaining about dating stories and men talking about bad first dates and how they wish they could have just a nice girl to date. And it's just so fascinating to me. So interesting. But all that to say, let's talk about like being single as a woman. I would consider myself single, even though like I date, but like I'm not really looking for a long-term commitment. And basically the main reason is just that like, I love not really having to follow anybody's rules. I love that by being single, I can do virtually whatever I want. If I decide I want to go for a solo trip to Los Angeles, that's all me. I don't have to ask anybody for permission. But unfortunately, yeah, like when you're in a relationship with someone, in most cases, like you do kind of have to let them know, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I don't want to have to do that. For example, just recently, I got the last ticket for an early screening of Wicked Part 2. If I had a partner, I would feel so much guilt being like, oh my God, I got the last one, but I didn't invite my partner, da-da-da. No, it's just me. And I also know that I really care about going to see Wicked. So it's just like, hey, me deciding with only myself, I'm gonna go see the Wicked Part 2 movie by myself tomorrow. And that's fine, that's perfect, it fits so well. It's just really nice to do what you wanna do and not worry what other people think or care. And part of me also wonders with this shift if it's because men being single and women being single are two different things. Like women being single, and I think that's maybe the confusion with the original creator. Like when women say they want to be single, they don't mean that like they're gonna isolate themselves from the rest of the world. No, often women being single, it's us having hobbies, us hanging out with our friends more, us hanging out with our families more, us picking up a second job, or you know, starting a project or something. Being single just gives you more time to like do whatever you want to do, because relationships are a lot of time. It's a time commitment. It truly is a time commitment. And one part that I found interesting was the creator mentioning that he feels he operates better when he's with a woman, when he's in a relationship. I do not think that is the case for most women. I do not think that's the case for most women. I'm so sorry. Whether I'm looking at my own family, whether I'm looking online, whether I'm listening to my friends, the consensus has been that when women are in relationships with men and it's not a compatible match and there's not like a building mindset, like equal mindset, it is detrimental to their growth. I'm so sorry to say that, guys, like, and I mean this with no harm. It's not me trying to hate on you. That is just unfortunately the lived reality I have seen both in my own eyes and have seen like culturally, versus historically, where the saying goes behind every successful man is like a woman that was his rock, you know? We don't really see the flip where it's women having all these goals and their husband is supporting them, their husband pushes them up. We don't really see that as often, so it makes sense why a lot of women have decided, you know what, I don't want to be in a secondary role. Like, I don't want to be a side character. I want to be the main character of my life, of my dreams, of my goals, whatever the energy that I could put in to like raise somebody else up, what if I put that into myself? And I don't really think that's necessarily a bad thing. And one more note before I wrap up, which is that I keep seeing this like real focus on procreation and, oh no, if women aren't having babies, what's gonna happen? Newsflash, people are still having children. A lot of people are still having children. A lot of people in Gen Z are still having children. You know, families are being made worldwide. Are we going through the same populist growth I think that we had over the past 100 years to get to 8 billion people now? Probably not. But we also have technological advancements. We have automation. We have new family systems being created. So I don't really understand this big hyperfixation on procreation. It makes me wonder, is it that people are upset about women not procreating in general? Or are they more so upset about a certain kind of women not procreating? And I'll leave us with that.
Women nowadays wanting to be tough and independent and single and like, I don't need a man, because of men are the ones that cause that. And why? Because men, us women, are tired of you letting us down over and over and over again. Let me break this down for you in simple terms. Back in the day, men would go to work. They provided for the home, for the family, while the woman stayed home. While she stayed home, she cooked, she cleaned, she took care of the kids, she took care of the home, right? That was all acceptable. Nowadays, Men still want that type of woman, but they also want that woman to go out and earn a paycheck. So not only is she working full time, but she's also coming home, she's picking the kids up from school, she's helping them do homework, she's doing the school projects, she's cooking, she's cleaning up, she's doing laundry, she's getting lunches ready for school tomorrow, she's cleaning, she's doing everything, right? While also earning the paycheck. And what are you doing? You came home, you sat on the couch, you stuck your hands down your pants to watch TV while she's doing everything else. Well, why would we need you? Why do we need an extra kid to take care of? We don't. So it's not like back in the day when we needed your paycheck. We don't need your paycheck anymore. So you think the only thing you need to bring to the table is this? Well, no, that's not it. That's not it. You can keep because we're earning our own. We don't need that, right? So what happens is you as a partner need to step up and be an equal and help take on some of those roles, because that way she is not going to have to be tough and independent and want to be single and not need you, right? She's going to want to have a partner who is equal. We don't want another kid to take care of. We want somebody who's going to bring value to the relationship, just like you want somebody who's going to bring value to the relationship. We don't want to be your mom. And as a man, you should not want your partner to be your mom, because if you do, you're weird. And if you have a problem with this video, you are literally the problem.
Shade by this, right? Why do women promote singleness so much?
Because of videos like this. Notice that these men come online talking about what women do and don't do. It's never about holding the men accountable. These men never get online talking about how men should be better men, how men should be better partners, how men should be more empathetic and caring to the women in their lives, family, friends, romantically and otherwise, how men should be increasing their income. It's never about how men should be better. It's always about what women should be doing. And I find that to be very weird. Listen, I know women are not perfect. I spent the first half of my content creation career, quote unquote, holding women accountable. But for a group of individuals who complain about women not allowing them to lead, they are the leaders in the avoiding accountability Olympics. Men should not be coming online talking about what women aren't doing, and particularly black men with the lowest net worth of all the group of men in this country. The math just don't make no sense. Women don't want to be single. In fact, black women especially still love black men at their core. But when you have a climate of men who have made it emphatically clear that they don't find any value in cherishing, taking care of, or looking after black women, what are these women supposed to do? Still settle for these men? So I need these dudes to be for real. We are literally living in the greatest wealth transfer in human history. And instead of black men focusing on how to take advantage of that, we're on here talking about what women are and are not doing. So, as I always say, govern yourselves accordingly.
You see how quickly you centered yourself, talking about how much better a good woman made your life, but how you never mentioned how you made her life better? That's women's issue these days. Men want to be the center of their own universe, but they also want to be the center of hers. Men put in their dating profiles they want a woman to cook and clean and what position she likes to be put in. But you can't ask them if they'll provide for you, or you're a gold digger, you're a user, you're lazy. Women are realizing that they don't get enough reciprocity from these men. Men get more ROI. They get more of a return on their investment. Sometimes the only thing a man wants to offer a woman is money, and most of the time it's not even offering her that. Perhaps you should go back and read the viral British Vogue article, Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing? Because you'll find there are a lot of women that are embarrassed to be with men because of all that you all require with so little in return. You guys want to offer women coffee dates and walking dates and boba dates and gym dates? You think everybody who wants a dinner from you is a gold digger? And then you also want half of her paycheck? Well, who's really digging the gold? Some of you are labor diggers. You're digging her for her labor. The reason why singleness has been promoted is because women are realizing more and more that they don't get as much back out of the relationship as men do.
No. You need a community. You need companionship. Because women are automatically nurturers. So they've got community. It's just not with a man. They've got sororities. They've got, different clubs. They've got mama to take care of. They've got nieces, nephews. They have other people to take care of. A woman is always going to be needed. Because, I got a friend. She's single. She's having surgery. She needs me to pick her up. I'm not calling no random man to pick me up. Because all he gonna do is pick me up, probably make me walk to the car and all this shit. She's gonna come in. She's gonna make sure I'm in the wheelchair. She's gonna get me in the car. She's gonna get me to the house. She's gonna call the day before and say, what do you need when you get to the house? And guess what? She's going to have the groceries that I need in the refrigerator. She's gonna make sure I'm settled. She's gonna make sure she's gonna run and get the prescription. She's gonna do all that. You're not gonna do all that, and your fellow man's not gonna do all that. So women don't need community in terms of having a man, because you could have a man sitting right there at the house and he still won't do all those things. The thing about being in a relationship is that women are put to work immediately once the relationship starts. They are immediately expected to do girlfriend duties, wifely duties, all of these things in order to audition to maybe get a ring or maybe be allowed to rest once we build. You need to help me build. Sir, you don't have a business plan. You have bad credit. How am I going to help you build? What you don't have anything. He's like, well, when we build it, then I'll take care of you. Unless I get bored, and then I still have the right to dump you and say, well, you're boring and, I've outgrown you. So that's you. She don't need a community. She has a community. The men are the ones that need the women. However, they won't think they can just make women audition for, 2 kids, a couple of diseases, 10 years, and waiting and anticipating maybe getting a ring. And women aren't doing that anymore because they don't have to do that. So they had to do that before because they had to take care of kids. It was just expected. It's no longer expected. And so now they can breathe a sigh of relief. Men are bothered because what else do you have? They don't need your money. They don't need your companionship because your companionship comes at a cost that only she has to pay. You are complaining about dates. She is not wanting to put in work for potential unless you decide otherwise. So no, she doesn't need companionship. You do. She's fine.
Why do women promote singleness so much?
I don't think they're promoting singleness per se, but I do believe that they're promoting self-love over self-sacrifice. And sometimes self-love means being by yourself. I'd argue that we are in an epidemic of people who are severely codependent, who trauma bond with each other and just refuse to do the work, but are just so gung-ho to hop into a relationship. I do believe that we are meant to be coupled, but I don't believe that it should be done under any circumstance. At this big age, I'll speak for me. At my big age, I am not going to be with someone if they cannot add to my life or make my life better. And that does not only mean finances. If I have done the work to get here financially, if I have done the work mentally, done the therapy, done whatever, not saying I did or I didn't, but using me as an example, if I have done the work to be a healthy partner, that is what I'm going to expect in return. And if we're being honest, a lot of people are not doing the work. Let's keep it a bean. So instead of going out here traumatizing everybody for the sake of being in a relationship and being coupled, we absolutely should be single, do the work in order to be better partners, to be in a relationship, a healthy relationship.
Okay, so almost half of women are apparently going to be childless and single by the year 2030.
Dude, good for us, honestly. That's amazing. I love that he presented that article as if women becoming happier and more content with themselves is a problem we need to solve. And I think it's hilarious that all these grown men are so upset by this information that keeps coming out that women are becoming happier being single and childless now. I want to talk about it today because that man rambled for almost 4 whole minutes and he did absolutely everything but understand the point. That yes, statistically, women are starting to poll as happier being single and childless. And there's a lot of reasons for these statistics coming forward, right? A big one is that we're not out here having to deal with the emotional labor of a relationship that never seems to be equally placed upon a man. But then you see all these men who, for some reason, can't wrap their mind around the fact that women are happy single. And that's because statistically, men poll as happier in a relationship. They're miserable without us. And so they do what this man did in his 4-minute long video, and they get upset and they think they need to come in and save these women who aren't asking to be saved. And they blame feminism, they blame women, they dance around the point entirely. They tell themselves whatever they need to rock themselves to sleep as they cry at night, completely missing the point and knowing that women are out here happy. We're just fine. And because you know what? Same. I make myself go on a date every 2 to 5 months, just to get back in there, give it a try. You never know what could happen. Maybe I'll meet the love of my life and everything will go amazing. But it's good to always put yourself back out there every once in a while to see. And it always ends up going one of two ways. First is that we're just not compatible, totally normal, we move on. And the second one is if things work out, we get into a little relationship, right? It usually goes like the last boy I dated. We dated for 3 or 4 months, and almost every day after work, I would go over to his house. And no matter how my day went at work, right, I would just be happy to be off and get to see him. But it wasn't the same for him. It seemed like he was never able to just leave work problems at work, which is fine, right? I'm always here to help, support, vent. But it started to feel like he was having a bad day at work almost every day. And then he would come home and kind of take it out on me. Like he would dump it all on me and then I would have to deal with fixing it. Or he would be starting arguments, just whole bad mood vibes. It always became my emotional labor now too. And the thing is, the door never really swung both ways. I was always expected to be there to tend to all of his needs and whatnot, but he was never really offering the same thing to me. And I find this happens a lot in relationship with boys. One day I had an amazing day at work. I came home so excited and he just came and ruined my mood entirely. And that was the day I looked around and went, why am I putting up with this? I am raising a man who would not and does not do the same thing for me. And whilst there are some benefits to having someone around, right, I stayed this long, I was overall on a general baseline just happier being single. So now about a month or two into every relationship I have, I sit down and I have to ask myself, were you happier before this relationship started? And so far, mostly every time the answer has been no. It was way better being single. And certainly a lot less stressful than adopting a 27-year-old man-child. And y'all can keep making videos crying and trying to blame feminism and women all you want, but at some point you're gonna have to look inward. I also don't know why he brought money into it. In this economy, most people want a partner who makes more money than them. The last boy I went out with literally said he wants to be a stay-at-home dad and have his wife bring in all the money, and I get it.
No shade by this, right? Why do women promote singleness?
Okay, watch the whole video. Basically wants to know why women promote being single so much. Life isn't meant to be lived alone. We are supposed to be in community with other people, and the goal of us being on earth is to procreate. Disagree with that. Crave companionship, do not crave procreation, but that's neither here nor there. So the question is, why do women promote being single so much? I think we do it because we're conditioned to do the opposite. We are conditioned as very, very small girls that if you don't have a man, if you're not in a relationship, if you're not actively seeking it, then you are doing something wrong, or that something is wrong with you if nobody wants you. So you spend your entire life, teens, especially through your 20s, posturing for men, posturing for love, posturing for affection, molding yourself into whatever the ideal partner is for this man, right? And then at some point, at least for me, something in your mind breaks where it's you stop posturing for that. And I think, again, women promote being single so much because once you stop centering romantic relationships, once you stop centering men and stop centering your entire existence, every decision you make on how can I be attractive to men, how can I be the best partner to another person, I think you realize that there's a freedom. It's actually not that bad. It's not the worst thing in the world to not have a man. It's not the worst thing in the world to live your life and redefine what life and success looks like without men being at the center of that. And I think it's promoted so that you know that if you don't have that, that is okay. You can still live a happy, whole, healthy life. There are forms of community and companionship outside of romantic love. Doesn't mean you don't desire those things. Doesn't mean that you don't want those things. It just means that if you don't have it in that way, doesn't mean that you can't have a good life. And there is a freedom and a a lightness that comes from just living your life the way that you want to. And if a partner comes from that, then that's great. And pouring into the other people around you, pouring into every other relationship around you, there is you can live a good, happy, healthy life without the societal pressures of needing to be in a relationship. I don't think we're promoting loneliness. I don't think anybody's promoting you can do life alone without anybody in your community. But I do think that there's something to be said for women who've decided to decenter men specifically in romantic relationships and stop posturing and just start like living. I hope I was able to articulate that right. I don't know. And to keep this on brand, you don't need a man to buy a house either. So, hit me up.
Huh? What? Why did you make this video? Sorry. Did you not watch it back? Okay, so he goes on to say that, you know, women think they can do it solo dolo. No, you think that being single means you're solo dolo. Women have community and pets and friends and lovers and companions. We don't need to be tied to some man to live a happy life. In fact, the studies consistently show that men are made happier with marriage and women are made less happy with marriage. That single women live longer and happier, and married men live longer and happier. You see what that is? Marriage is not good for women. If it were, you wouldn't have to be convincing us to do it. You wouldn't be making videos saying there's a single epidemic. People are legitimately living their lives and being happy, and you're calling it an epidemic. Yikes. I think you answered your own question in the video. You said, oh, one of the only reasons to leave the house is to meet a mate. That's for you. Where is it written? Where is it written that that's my purpose? And if you mention the Bible, you can get the fuck out of my face. Where is it written? Nowhere. Stop being so confused by people choosing their own path in life. Stop being confused by women saying, you know what? I actually don't think this would add to my life to chase a man. I'll tell you this. I've been married, divorced, left that. I was engaged, called off a wedding during the pandemic. Ain't nobody got time for that. I thought this is what I'm supposed to do. It's not. And my life improved tenfold. Women have community, pets, lovers, friends, family. I don't need to be tied to a man. And the way that you said out loud, I have always operated better when I have a woman, is hilariously sad. Because I have always operated much better when I'm not tied to a dusty man whose life depends on me, because he always operates better when he's in a relationship. 2 of my exes said this to my face. I mean, I just operate better when I'm in a relationship. I wonder why? Because you're draining your partner. Please, men, stop making videos like this. You look dumb.
There's nothing wrong with being single. I just don't know why it's promoted so much.
You don't know me, but you make dope content. Keep doing your thing. I just wanted to chime into this conversation because I am a person who has been single for 11 years. Okay? 11 years. And I never thought that it would be as long as it has been. Have I dated? Have I interacted with men? Yes. But I think one of the reasons it is promoted and comes up in conversation a lot is because you can't control anything. You don't know how long it's going to take before you align with the person. Plus, there are a lot of people out here that are in relationships that are going through it. Okay, they're going through it and they're staying because they can't afford to be alone. They don't know how to be alone. And in a lot of situations, that's the latter. I'm sure most people that are single would love to be in partnership, right? But what happens when you're not? What happens when you go out, you're open-minded, you ask your friends to put you on, and it doesn't happen? You still need to be happy. You still need to learn how to find joy because you don't know how long it's going to be. And you don't want to be so desperate to be in a relationship that you ignore the signs when you do find yourself being suited or, courted. So I think the narrative is out there because more times than not, you're not going to align with the people that you're dating. You're going to have to constantly be in a rhythm of setting boundaries and honoring yourself and advocating for who you want to be. If you don't hear a message that says, you don't got to deal with that, do you know how happy I can be in a house by myself without a man?
I get no shade, but what do we need y'all for? I'm not saying it's all men, but it's enough of y'all that will purposely screw up the most simplest of tasks just so you don't have to be asked to do it again. And protection from what, Tommy? The Germans. Y'all will watch a woman in distress in public be harassed by one of your own and not do a damn thing to stop it. Some of y'all don't even respect your own moms. How many times has your homies ever told you a story about them disrespecting women and you did nothing to stop them or correct them? Instead of asking us why we like to promote being single, why don't you ask your homies why they don't treat women better? Y'all can't even be bothered to freaking learn your girl's interests, favorite color, favorite music, favorite movies. I could roll out the Chris Jericho scroll of 1001 wrestling holds, and y'all still will never get it.
Women have been talking about this for a while now. It's not really an epidemic. It's just that I think that the younger generation is realizing that they don't have to settle when it comes to you men. You said that you operate better when you're in a relationship with a woman. Yeah, because women tend to have more empathy than men. We're also socialized to be nurturers, to support men, to hold our man down. So of course you would thrive more in a relationship. Also, women are trained to cook, to clean, to do all the domestic duties, and men really aren't trained to do that. So women provide a lot of labor for men, especially emotional labor. So of course you would be thriving when you're with a woman. They've essentially been programmed to serve men. Like, that's what the patriarchy is. So I just find it to be intellectually dishonest that you're asking this question. I think you know the answer to this question and you don't like the answer, and that's fine. But there are plenty of women out here that would sell their left kidney to be with the nigga. Like, there's so many women out there that their one purpose in life, like the greatest achievement in their life, will be to get married and have children. And the women that don't want to do that, why can't they just stay alone or stay single until they find the person that they feel meets their standards? There is so much more to life than getting married and having kids. Women realize that they can use their energy, instead of pouring it into a man, they can pour it into their hobbies. They can pour it into their girlfriends. They can pour it into traveling. They could pour it into developing a new skill and bettering themselves and actually getting a return on their investment. Whereas when you hold the man down, historically speaking, when you put so much into a man, there's no telling that you're gonna get anything back from that. Okay, a lot of the times you get stabbed in the back. Okay, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of stories of women speaking about this. Like, this isn't a one-off thing. So yeah, I would suggest maybe listening to women more closely and trying to understand and have empathy for women instead of having a knee-jerk, reaction or defense response to our experience.
Throughout my life, I've worked and known of several women who were single in their 30s and in their 40s. Speaking to these women and listening to their reasons, I was automatically able to empathize and understand why they choose to be single in their 30s and in their 40s. And here are a few reasons that I've gathered up that a lot of those women had in pattern. Freedom is the number one answer that I heard from most of these women who were single in their 30s and 40s. You're free to do whatever you want. You don't have to get home and answer a million questions to somebody who's insecure, controlling, or possessive. Another big reason that I've gathered from women who were in their 30s and 40s who were single is a lot of them are simply scared to get into another relationship because they went through a really abusive relationship or even an abusive marriage. And who can blame them? You got out of a 10, 12, 15 long-term relationship or marriage that was abusive physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and verbally. I probably wouldn't want to get into anything serious for a while myself. Here in the United States alone, statistically speaking, 1 in 4 women experience SA at least once in their lifetime. And in most of those cases, it actually comes from their partner at home, not from some stranger down an alley at 2 in the morning. And it's staggering to realize that most of these cases of abuse and domestic violence come straight from within the home. It's actually from your own partner at home, a partner who you should trust. And I don't blame women for having difficulty trusting and getting in something serious with someone else after they've gone through something like that for so long. Fruit Loops for dinner? Why the hell not? Takeout for dinner? Why the hell not? There's no need to cook. There's none of that pressure in a woman's life when she's single, whether she's in her 30s, 40s, it doesn't, even 50s, it doesn't matter. There's no more of that pressure. So you don't have to cook if you don't want to. Overall, women who are choosing to be single in their 30s, 40s, and even 50s simply have a better life and a more peaceful life. And instead of automatically thinking that she's a red flag because she's in her 30s and is single and telling her she's going to die alone, why not ask questions to see if you can understand their point of view and why they're single? It only takes a little bit of empathy. That's all.
That I hear a lot from people in regards to women who choose to be single is that somehow we are bitter or traumatized and we've been hurt before, and that's why we've decided to be single. You know what? That may be the case for some women. Some women have decided that, you know what, I'm going to take myself out the game because this is just too much for me. But in my experience, both personally and professionally, a lot of women are choosing to be single because of the fact that they are much healthier and happier with themselves. The thing that I hate most about, this whole idea that, choosing to be single is because of some sort of hurt or trauma, it makes me feel like people are still buying this idea that the default position for women is to be partnered, that's what we were supposed to do, and your life is not complete unless you have, fulfilled that. As we're seeing, more and more people are deciding to either prolong or forego marriage and children altogether and are doing fine. We're actually thriving. And people are now realizing, oh, so maybe this marriage and kids thing isn't the only way. For some people, that can feel really scary. That can feel really intimidating because that means they'd have to question their own value system, the things that they believe about what a good life is supposed to be. In my, experience, a lot of single women who choose to be single are doing so because they like themselves more as single people, they have a better quality of life as single people, and they really want to focus on building other relationships outside of the romantic context in order to have a more fulfilling life. And I have to say this, historically, romantic partnerships, marriages are really, really based around women's labor. And I know some people are going to get mad at me for saying that, but a lot of success in the cis hetero relationships that I've seen is based on how much a woman is willing to sacrifice in order to make the relationship work. Guess what? A lot of women ain't trying to do that. They understand that the costs really are not aligned with the benefits, and so they are choosing themselves. And I applaud those who are making that choice. It takes a lot of courage and humility to look at yourself and and be able to say, you know what, all these societal norms don't really work for me. I'm going to choose something different. For those who are threatened by that or who don't understand that, I really want to encourage you to sit with that discomfort and think about what that is. What is making you so uncomfortable about someone else's life choice that is working for them? Is that somehow making you question yours?
As a woman, the smarter you are, the more single you will be. Don't take this the wrong way. As a woman, the smarter and more aware that you are, the more single you will be. Why? Most men, all they require is admiration and complete submission from a partner. Most women, the more smart and more aware that they get, the more that they require more complex and more nuanced things from a partner. And if we live in a world where we're all aware that most people are not that bright and most people are not that smart, what do you think is going to happen? Now, this is not to say that everybody who's in a relationship is not smart or not bright. Because some of you are like, I have a boyfriend. Does that mean I'm stupid? I can already hear it now. I got a girl. Does that mean I'm not that bright or smart? No, that's not what I'm saying. Sometimes. But for a majority of situations, I'd say that the smarter you are, right? The more aware you are, the more difficult it will be, and the longer that you might remain single. That's why they call it settle down. It's called settle down for a reason. You have to settle down. All that thing, all that rah. So if we know most of the world not that bright, most people are not that smart, and you go amongst those people, you're a different breed. Just say you're a cow going amongst sheep, and you say I can't find a partner. Of course you can't find a partner. You're going moo. They're going bah. You're going moo. They're going bah. It's two different breeds, fam. You're not gonna find a partner here. And that's just what it is. I think sometimes people need to come to terms with that. you might need to dumb yourself down a little bit. If we're being honest, it's just what it is.
Women are choosing to be single and dealing with less because y'all sat here and gave us so much on why we should be doormats to y'all emotions.
Come on, Randy.
Opposed to taking accountability for the fact that you ain't healed yourself from the up shit your mama did to you. Come on, Randy. Come on, Randy.
She said y'all. She said y'all.